Hello everyone and welcome to another video on the channel today. Apologies in advance for my slightly croaking voice. I have a bit of a chest infection at the moment, but you'd better believe I'm not going to stop that making some video content for you, my great viewers, subscribers and members. On that note, please do remember to hit that subscribe button if you've not already done so. It takes a second to do so and it's completely free, costs you nothing. What are you waiting for? Hit that button now, hit the notifications bell as you do so. Right, what do we want to talk about today on the channel? Well, earlier this week, an email dropped in my inbox from Microsoft and it caught my attention. It was titled 5 Myths About AI in Cybersecurity Debunked. I thought I've got to check these out. I've got to see if I agree with these myths being debunked or otherwise. What is my take on it? What is my spin on it? So I thought I'd not only do that, but I'd go through the content shared with Microsoft with you together in this video. So without any further waiting, let's dive right in and check it out. So this is the deck that Microsoft have released, this eBook, if you like, 5 cybersecurity AI myths debunked. And I wanted to just go through this with you and share those 5 myths and comment on them and see if we agree or disagree on this guide to generative AI misconceptions. And before we get into the myths themselves, let's just take a quick look at the case for AI in cybersecurity to remind ourselves why this is important. And it's because cyber attacks are growing increasingly prevalent, coordinated and sophisticated. And there are some numbers here that Microsoft are sharing here to show how this has skyrocketed and how the odds are stacked against today's security analysts, with statistics like 4,000 password attacks per second. 72 minutes is the median time for an attacker to access your private data if you open a phishing email. 3.5 million, that is the global shortage of skilled cybersecurity professionals. So if you're looking for a career, studying to get into cybersecurity, there's never been a better time to have a career in cybersecurity, that is for sure, because there is a skills shortage. And this is why it's more important than ever to equip security teams with the solutions to help them quickly detect and investigate and respond to cyber threats. Security leaders are definitely looking for more automation and tools that work together to help them in this requirement to outsmart cyber attackers. They're looking for ways to strengthen their team's expertise and solutions that help their analysts see more and move faster. And AI is certainly not the key, but one of the keys to making it all possible. I would challenge that statement slightly. It's important, but it's not the be-all and end-all. With that said, let's take a look at some of these myths and see what we think of them. Myth number 1, unauthorized data access. Some security leaders are concerned that if an unauthorized user asks an AI-powered tool a question, they could get an answer that includes information the user isn't authorized to see. But this isn't the case. Data security is the primary concern for organizations adopting new generative AI tools. When any unauthorized user, whether internal or external, gains access to data, this can disrupt businesses and put an organization's reputation at risk. To generate useful answers to queries, generative AI applications may have access to sensitive data. However, the app will only show the user what they have access to see. So, if a particular user uses generative AI to look for information in their organization, if they're using Microsoft Copilot to search, they're only going to get results from the SharePoint sites that they're authorized to see and the teams they're authorized to see, and obviously their own OneDrive. So this is myth number 1 debunked. So frequently asked question, can unauthorized users gain access to sensitive data with Copilot? The answer is no. This won't happen with Copilot because it uses admin on behalf of rights for the user logged in, meaning the rights are limited to that specific user and that user only. Copilot runs queries as the user, not as anything more elevated than that, like an admin or somebody else, so it never has elevated privileges beyond what the user has. So that's myth number 1. I think that's fair enough, and I think broadly speaking, I agree with that statement. Myth number 2, data privacy and ownership. Ensuring data privacy is essential for an organization to create a culture of transparency, build customer trust, and meet compliance regulations. And when considering generative AI solutions, security leaders are concerned that their customer data will be used to train other models, which could ultimately jeopardize the organization's reputation. So, the frequently asked question here, will my customer data be used to train language models in Copilot? Answer again is no. At Microsoft, they are setting the standard for security, privacy, and compliance when it comes to AI. Not only true for Copilot for security, but for all of their AI offerings. By default, Microsoft doesn't train language models on customer data. Not like ChatGPT. If you put stuff into ChatGPT, then it's going to train the model ongoing. So that's the difference here. And there's a dedicated opt-in functionality. This is interesting. I didn't know about this, but a dedicated opt-in functionality within Copilot for customers who choose to contribute to collective security and innovation in AI. So it can be done, but by default, it does not train the language models. And as I've already stated, this last paragraph here at the bottom, when it comes to data, unlike ChatGPT, Copilot is grounded. That's an important term in terms of AI grounding, which we talked about when I had Jeremy Chapman of Microsoft Mechanics on the show the other week. In the unique context of your organization. This means when you ask Copilot any question, the answer will be based on what's happening in your organization at that moment, and your data isn't used to train the foundation AI models. It's a closed learning loop that continuously improves based on your use. And again, I'm happy to give a thumbs up to this statement in relation to this myth. I agree with this. Number 3, data leakage and exposure. In the past year, 74% of organizations experienced an incident that exposed business data, such as intellectual property. Data breaches are extremely costly for organizations, and that's not in just the financial sense. These incidents also diminish the trust of customers who may become the victims of identity theft, credit card fraud, or other malicious activities because of the breach. So, the frequently asked question here, could Copilot expose my data to others using the tool? Answer: no. Copilot for Security was designed based on responsible AI. It includes the same security, privacy, and compliance controls as other trusted Microsoft products, as well as AI-specific safety mechanisms. Your data is analyzed within the Copilot system and doesn't leave the Microsoft Azure production tenant. Per Microsoft standards, your data is encrypted, in transit, and at rest. Plus, session data is stored only in logs for runtime purposes to operate the service. In the runtime database, where a session is deleted using the in-product user experience, all data associated with that session is marked as deleted, and the time to live is set to 30 days. After that time to live expires, the data can't be accessed by any queries. At that time, the data is physically deleted by a background process. Again, I think I'm quite satisfied with this statement in the broadest possible sense. What I would add to this, though, is don't rely only on Copilot to do this for you. Make sure that you are using the controls available to you in Microsoft Purview, like data loss prevention, to ensure that you have everything in place to prevent the accidental sharing or leakage of sensitive data that you have. Myth number 4, compliance issues. Helping your organization meet compliance requirements may be one of the most demanding business challenges you face as a security leader. I agree with that. Many organizations must comply with a range of strict business and regulatory requirements that vary by region and industry. Also agree with that. In some cases, non-compliance could result in financial penalties or cause your organization to lose access to an entire market segment. Considering the complexities of the current compliance landscape, some security leaders are concerned that new generative AI solutions will not meet requirements. So, what is the question here? Does Copilot for Security meet industry or regional compliance requirements? The answer we see here is yes. Copilot meets GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation requirements for EU markets by implementing the Azure public preview requirements. It stores all EU customer data within the EU data boundary and is available in multiple languages. Copilot also provides compliance controls to help you meet business and regulatory compliance. Now, this is interesting to me in that this deck calls out GDPR, an EU standard. It doesn't reference anything in, say, the US like HIPAA, so this may well be an EU targeted slide deck I'm seeing here. But again, I think broadly speaking, we have to take this on trust that Microsoft are doing this in good faith, but equally we have to have that sense of diligence and vigilance as security leaders ourselves within our organization. Never assume this. Always make sure that you have the supporting controls in place to ensure that you are meeting these standards. Look to the assessments and the regulations that are built into Microsoft Purview to check that you are in compliance with regulatory standards that your organizations are bound by and any internal policies that your organization may have as well. And finally, myth number 5, and there's a lot of content on this slide. It's all about hallucinations. Interesting. So, cautionary tales about an AI phenomenon called hallucinations have become all too common. A hallucination is content generated by a language model that appears plausible but is either factually incorrect or irrelevant. It comes across as qualified knowledge and is delivered in a confident response, but it's false. Now, this is a very scary concept. No one wants to be producing false, inaccurate information as factual. These hallucinations become an even bigger problem when humans accept the content as fact without verification, when they assume the content is free from bias or misinformation, or rely on the content for critical decisions without human input or oversight. That human input is the key to this here. Remember that it's called Copilot. It's not Pilot. It's not there to make all the decisions for you. It's there to support you. But while this is an understandable concern, hallucinations are not an issue when you use transparent AI solutions that empower humans to make their own decisions. So what's the frequently asked question here? Does Copilot for Security help to detect hallucinations? The answer, yes. Trust is paramount in security. If you can't trust security data and insights, you can't achieve the right outcomes. For humans to confidently work with AI-powered tools like Copilot, it's critical to build trust in the technology. At Microsoft, they are committed to responsible AI, which is why Copilot is designed to, okay, here's the nitty-gritty part of the answer here, show reasoning, sources, debug, and runtime. Yeah, it does that actually. In my experience of using Copilot to get things like information on does e-discovery work in this way in terms of holds being put in place and then licenses being deleted, for example. That's a question I got asked recently. It does show its work, where its sources were, the learn.microsoft.com articles that prove that that is correct. So agreed, that is accurate. It shows that. Ensure the data is compliant, secure, and private. Yeah, I think the other myths that we've gone through, broadly speaking, it's shown that the intent certainly is there, but always belt and braces that. Always make sure you're doing your own diligent actions as well. It's also designed to address harms and hallucinations. Okay, it doesn't quite tell you how. And be transparent and allow for an open dialogue. So with or without hallucinations, it's critical that people always feel confident that they are in control when using AI-powered tools. AI augments human expertise, not the other way around. That's an important statement and something we've already alluded to in this video. With Copilot, the goal is to help security teams achieve positive security outcomes more efficiently without an over-reliance on AI. I'm glad to see that stated here. Security analysts get suggestions from Copilot. So that's key, the suggestions, not decisions, to help them act on insights. But it's up to them to decide whether and how to use these. So the human decides what to trust, what to share, what's important, what's relevant, and when and how to take action. Copilot users can not only control and grade the AI output, but also edit and correct the AI outputs and provide feedback. Human creativity and knowledge will always be imperative for cybersecurity. Copilot is designed to complement security team skills and expertise, so they can work faster, more accurately, and more proactively. So there you have it. I think that's a very, very good ebook that Microsoft has put together, which should hopefully allay some of the fears that many people may have about generative AI and how safe and secure it is. I did broadly agree with the majority of the content that Microsoft has put in there in terms of the frequently asked questions. Always like to add a little bit of seasoning to some of these statements. My own little take on this is, and Microsoft, to be fair, they do point this out, that it is something to be augmented by human experience and expertise. Always make sure that you are the ones deciding and not taking everything Copilot says as gospel. So important. Make sure you've got the appropriate data loss, retention, data protection controls in place, all of which you can do via Microsoft Purview for your data in Microsoft 365. I've got tons of content on that in my videos, including my SC400 video series, which I know I have to complete. I will get back to that soon. So let me know what you think. Do you agree, disagree with some of the myths that have been debunked, those 5 myths? Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are and were. Lovely. Let's wind up the video. And before I say goodbye to you all, once again, a reminder again to give me a great big thumbs up, a like if you've enjoyed this video. It helps me to reach that wider audience. I'll appear in other people's feeds if you do so. So please hit that like button. Please hit subscribe as well. Free to do so. I know I keep saying that, but it really is so important. And the notifications bell as well. Okay, well, you all take care. Be safe, travel well, and I shall see you next time. Bye-bye.